Good morning and happy Thursday. Today is May 21st, 2020. I'm going to slide my picture out of the way so you can see our meme of the day. There we go. Kermit sipping his tea. Alright, so as always, please make sure you watch or read the daily message. Make sure you're completing your assignments, turning your work in, and also make sure you're checking in with me. It's Thursday, so that means I need you to, if you've checked in with me earlier in the week, I need you to check in with me, my homeroom. All of you can, but especially my homeroom, at least one more time this week. Remember to check in with me once on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, then check in with me again on either Thursday or Friday. That way I can mark you present for all week. Today we are going to be starting lesson 12.1. It's going to take us 2 days. We'll do it today and tomorrow. Our focus question is, how can you describe the likelihood of an event? So we're starting to learn things now that we did not learn back when we were in school. But this is a good unit. This is a fun unit. This is one of my favorite units to teach. I'm really sorry that we can't do it in person because there's some different games and things that can be involved. Hopefully we'll still get to do some of those virtually. But just understand that in general, probability is the likelihood of something happening. So imagine flipping a coin. You know that when you flip a coin, two things can happen. You can land on heads or you can land on tails. Those two events are equally likely to happen, which means 50% of the time you'll land on heads and 50% of the time you should land on tails. But I want you to pause and I want you to think. If I told you to go flip a coin 20 times, do you think every single one of you would flip 10 heads and 10 tails? Probably not. So that's where we're starting to get into the difference between theoretical probability and experimental probability. So let me explain that. Theoretical is what can happen or what should happen. So when you said we're going to land on heads 50% of the time, that's the theoretical probability. And we got 50% because on a coin there's two outcomes. So picture a fraction, 2's at the bottom because that's how many total outcomes there are. On that coin, one side is heads. So one of those, there's one favorable outcome out of two total possible outcomes. So that's 1 out of 2, and that's the fraction 1/2, and we know that 1/2 turns into 50%. So that would be our theoretical probability. And so we would expect that if you flip your coin, you should land on head half the time. But experimental means you actually do the experiment, you actually take a coin and flip it. And you probably know that when you flip the coin, just because you should land on head 50% of the time doesn't mean you're always going to land on heads 50% of the time. So that's the difference here. As we're going through this lesson in particular, we're describing the likelihood of an event, which means is it likely to happen? So we're going to see things like the word certain. If something's certain to happen, that means it's always 100% of the time going to happen. Or impossible. Picture a 6-sided dice where each side a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You are certain 100% of the time to roll a number less than 7. So there's a 100%, if I roll a 6-sided dice, there's a 100% chance that I'm going to get a number less than 7. But it is impossible. There's a 0% chance of me rolling a 7 because it only goes up to 6. So those are the types of things I want you to think about. Make sure you're watching the lesson video. It's going to be really helpful for this lesson. If you have questions, I will be here. After you watch this video, please do the warm-up, watch the videos, independent practice. Thank you. Have a great day.